Welcome back to Joe Stunner Boxing. Bit of a weird one, this. This has come from sort of left field. Oleksandr Usyk has kind of called out Deontay Wilder, of all people. And Wilder, following his defeats, well, he had the two stoppages against Fury, came back briefly with a one-round knockout against Robert Helenius, promptly lost two fights back-to-back, one to Joseph Parker, wide on points, the other a knockout to Zhile Zhang. And then he's had a little comeback against an unheralded opponent who he stopped on his feet. But Wilder looks like he's all the mystique, all that sort of right-hand thunderbolt power seems to have left him. And it's not surprising because is he 40 now? But more surprising is the fact that Usyk has said, yeah, I'd like to fight him. And Usyk's exact words were, I continue to fight. He's talking about next year. I want to fight Deontay Wilder. I think it's interesting. This is a world champion guy. This is a very famous guy. This is a strong guy. One of the great heavyweights of the last 10 years. I've spoken to my team and I say, this is my first option. Now, Wilder, with the two defeats that I mentioned, I don't think, is he ranked in any of the top 10s? He may be. But it is a little odd that Usyk, I suppose you could argue that Usyk is looking at Wilder because Wilder is of his generation. I mean, Usyk's 38, Wilder is 40, whatever it is, about 40, 41 now. So he's probably thinking, well, I don't want to leave the sport without having fought, all the major heavyweights of my era rather than look at the younger ones. And I get that. I think that's something that psychologically, and certainly in terms of legacy, is quite appealing to any fighter. I'm going to clean out this division. I don't care about the youngsters. That's the next generation. I'm not interested in randomly fighting, a Talma or, I don't know, any of the others that are sort of 25 and under. I'm just not interested in fighting those people. I want to fight the major people from my era because Usyk is literally old enough to be a Talma's father. So, no. Well, Wilder has come back on this and said, Usyk is a great champion. We have plans for next year and we'd like Oleksandr Usyk to be part of them. If we receive the right offer, we would be open to that fight. So Wilder's up for it, and of course he is. Suddenly out of the blue, he's getting a shot at the world title. Usyk would be an overwhelming favourite to beat Wilder. I think a lot of heavyweights would be an overwhelming favourite against this version of Wilder. But would it sell? I don't know. And I did read something that also it sort of stuck in my mind. Some guy was saying, look, as an American boxing fan, he's saying, why do people hate Wilder so much? He's an American heavyweight who held a belt for I don't know how many years. He made 10 defences. He knocked out everyone until obviously he bumped into Fury. But he certainly floored everyone all the way up to the Parker fight. He'd had Fury on the floor in total. In their 3 fights, he had Fury on the floor 4 times. So even though he got a draw and 2 defeats, and it should really have been 3 defeats in my opinion, but that's by the by, at least he can say, well, I did have that big cruise missile, atom bomb of a right hand. And people, of course, look at his resume and they think, it's junk, who's he beaten? He was always fighting, C+ guys, C level, C+ guys. And when he met Fury, he got beaten. And then he lost to another 2 legitimate top 10ers, Parker and Zhang. So, it was to a large extent a manufactured resume. But he still had ability. As Paulie Malignaggi said, he's a one-trick pony, but what a fucking trick, It's an amazing trick. If he was to beat Usyk, of course, I think it's a huge, tall order, but if he was to beat Usyk, we would have to completely review his career. Suddenly he would leap up, to let's say, I'm not saying it's going to happen, but let's say he knocked Usyk out. He knocks out the guy who's twice beaten, twice Fury, twice AJ and twice Dubois, and Wilder comes along and levels him. Well, you can see why Wilder thinks, Christmas has come early. Usyk's talking about fighting me, and he doesn't deserve it. I don't know where he is in the top 10, if he is in any of the top 10s. Inactivity alone should remove him from the, the rankings. But as we know, the rankings don't work like that. I mean, God Almighty, some of their top 10s, some of their mandatory contenders, never mind their top 10s, are just a colossal embarrassment. But they do these things. Yeah. Anyway, what do you think of this? Would you be interested in watching Usyk fight Wilder? It could probably be promoted to some degree, but I don't know. It might be a hard sell, and yet there is a certain intrigue, I suppose, to it. But I don't know. I do think it would be a hard sell. But let me know what you think. Maybe you disagree. Comments below, of course. And of course, if you did enjoy this video, please hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and spread the word about Joe Stunner Boxing. Many, many thanks for all your support, as always. And of course, I'll catch you later. Bye for now.